and we don't even know why we wake up every morning and do the things we do. It's almost like there's somebody else that's taken over us, and that's just our mind. But sometimes when we kind of step out of time, we realize that we're more than just human bodies. We've got soul, and that's what I write about.
Peace, this is Itai and I'm back with you again. We just never get tired at clarifying what it is that we stand for and what it is that we represent as men and women all rising intelligently. So yeah, I just want to greet you with peace, love, respect, and all these things that make us who we are as a people who recognize our importance. In this time, we have to conduct ourselves in a certain way, and we have to give that respect to each other, or the respect that is due to each other. So in this particular video today, I want to just clarify on what rising intelligently is all about. Because I know when you talk about intelligence, a lot of the times it sounds as though you have made up your mind that you are so smart and you're smarter than everybody else. I just want to say that no, that's actually not what rising intelligently is, or this is not what we're trying to portray. Because at the end of the day, if we were so intelligent, we wouldn't need to rise intelligently. So we're trying to raise our level of intelligence, which means that we acknowledge that there's need for us to become a better version of ourselves. There's room for improvement. So this is not some arrogant thing. This is not us looking at ourselves like we're better than other people. That's not it. It's just us becoming the best version of ourselves, which means that naturally we acknowledge that there's a better version of who we are. Who you are today, who I am today, there's a better version of that. There's a more glorified version. There's a more magnified version. You know, a version that is more admirable, that is brighter, more intelligent, smarter, a version that could exist in a much better world, a greater world. And this is what we are trying to get to. So we are an emerging people. We are basically a people that are emerging. We are, you know, when people see us, or when people see us interacting, and people see us, how we carry ourselves within society, they can see that there's something different about the way that we do what we do, whatever that is. When we're out there, the business that you're into, you have a certain way of doing your business that makes you different from everybody else that's trying to do the same thing. You know, it doesn't have to be a big business. It could be a small business. But just how you carry yourself and how you conduct that business with the ethics and the values that you put into that business, people can see that no matter how small your business is, people can see that you're going somewhere with it, that you are emerging. You are something that is growing. You represent growth. You represent, you know, specialty. You represent, you know, just being smooth in how you do your things. You know, you're not associated with, you know, things that are regressive or things that are negative within society, but rather you represent that thing where people look at you and they're like, man, you know what? That's an exemplary way of living one's life. And somebody else that's looking at you, it could be younger brothers, younger sisters within your locality, they look at you like, yeah, you know, that is a good example of a man or a woman. So when we talk about raising or rising intelligently, we're talking of ourselves as a people who are emerging to become something greater. We are basically disposing of an old self. We're getting rid of that. You know, where we are, like where you are right now, who you are today, you're ready to dispose of that, because you know that in letting go of that, you're going to gain something greater. So you're disposing of an old self, and you are disclosing a next self, a greater self, something that somebody can look at and be like, man, I never thought that you could be better than you were before, but every time I see you, it's like there's a glow about you. There's something greater about you. There's something powerful about you. So we are those people who are ready to dispose of an old self, to dispose of, certain things within our own lives that are unnecessary. Because, sometimes people carry baggage that they don't need to carry. And so we acknowledge that we are not at our best selves, and there's certain things that we're dealing with within our lives that we need to get rid of, that we need to let go of, to become the better version of who we are, and to reveal something greater. So that's men and women rising intelligently for you. So the intelligence we're talking about is basically us interacting with a greater world, with higher intelligence. There's certain things that are still hidden to us because we haven't reached a level of understanding that allows us to see certain qualities and certain processes within society, that we are yet to understand how certain things are working and how certain energies are influencing our lives and maybe even controlling us to a certain degree. See, when we rise intelligently, we interact on a greater level. We go beyond the current governmental systems that basically are mind controlling the people. Because I said before, that's what government is, mind control. But when we rise in our intelligence, we don't have to be under the grip of, the false governments that are currently controlling the world. We become, we come into contact with something greater, which is where we get our direction from. Or at least as we interact with that world, we are at a level where we see more than we saw before. We understand the world much more, and we become more efficient in whatever we do because we're now exposed to a greater world. We have exposed ourselves to a greater world and to higher influences that can continue to reveal more to us in terms of how the universe works, how the world works, and stuff like that. So that's what rising intelligently really is about. It's about coming into higher senses. As it is, we already have, a sense of something greater. We have that sense, and the fact that we have that sense means that we have had to grow to get to a point where we have a higher sense of a greater world. Some people don't have that sense. Some people think the life that they're living today and right now is all there is. Some people are caught up in that. They're trapped in that. This is all it's ever going to be for them. But every time that we have a moment to ourselves, and we have a lot of those moments as people who are emerging and rising intelligently, we have so much time to ourselves to contemplate, to think, to meditate, to connect with those higher aspects and higher thoughts that come into contact with our mind space. We have the time for that, so we have developed that sense that there's actually more to life. There's more that's out there for us than what is presented to us, in this particular paradigm through the fake and false governments that's out there. So basically today I was thinking about this particular quote by a 14th century poet known as Rumi. And he says, "Raise your words, not your voice. It is the rain that grows flowers, not thunder." So when we talk about rising intelligently, that's essentially what we're talking about, where our emergence and our rise, it's not about making noise. You see, there's a tactic to how we are coming forward as a people. There's a tactic, there's a methodology there. There's intelligence behind how we're moving. We're not moving from emotion. We're not being moved by false governments and false people that claim to be leaders and enforce themselves upon the people. That's not what's moving us. We are moving from the direction of higher intelligence. This is where we're getting our direction from. This is what we connect to as men and women rising intelligently. And this is how we're able to rise intelligently, because we're seeing a world that is beyond this particular false reality that has been put, in front of us to mislead us and to move us in the path of destruction. But we're moving away from death and we're choosing life. We're those people who are choosing life. So this is what rising intelligently is all about. It's not about, trying to, talk about intelligence in the conventional sense. This is beyond that. This is not that petty, egotistical type of thing where you want to make yourself, appear as if you're smarter than everybody else. Nah, we're with the people. We are the people. And we stand with the people, at least those who will stand with us and who will respect what we stand for and what we're about. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share with you today. Yeah, my name is Itai, and I represent men and women all rising intelligently. Mwari, teaching the teachings of the teachings. Peace.